Hey everybody, I'm Ben Yee.
I'm Elissa Stein.
So
This is
Charter Part 2. Yeah.
So I'm so curious about this. So it seems like there are people not necessarily communicating in the mayor's office in the city.
No, they're communicating. They're supposed to each other.
Well, right. But they're having probably conflicting committees to review the charter.
Again, not conflicting, opposing. They both know that the other wants different things, and they have convened opposing commissions to review things in a different way.
Right.
And then offer
opposing sounds somewhat hostile, but I can understand that. So at the end of the day, one group, wax on, is going to come up with their proposals, the mayor's group.
That's right.
City council's group is going to come up with their own proposals.
Quite right.
Are all those proposals going to be like kind of thrown up onto a referendum that we vote on in the primaries? Like, how does that work, and how are people going to find out about what's going on? Is it an ad campaign? Like, hey, the mayor wants you to be civically involved, and the city council office wants, better street lamps and things like that. I mean, how do people find out about this?
Well,
because they're not very good at sharing information as it is, and this seems kind of like a possible potential of sweeping change that people are going to have to find out about.
I'll answer the first question first, which is I'm not 100% sure what will happen insofar as whose proposals get included on the ballot. That's going to be some sort of political process, and we can come back to that later.
Is there a system in place for that?
There is a system in place for how things get on the ballot for referendum in New York.
I mean, okay, so here's a question, because I don't know everything. Is a referendum like a yes or a no?
Yes.
Okay, so it'll say like, the city donates $5 million for increased civic engagement, yes or no, kind of thing.
Yeah.
So that's it. It's not like you're having some big debate about it. You vote up, you vote down.
Right. Well, the idea is that our elected representatives have the debate, and then they put forward to us a question for a yes or no vote.
This is interesting. I didn't know that New York City could do this. In California, referendums are really big, aren't they?
They are, and it's definitely made their state completely unwieldy.
Messy, yeah.
But
I didn't know that could happen here.
Only in the city. New York State does not have referenda.
Interesting.
Yeah.
So we can have our own personal little
I don't want to just say that, but we can have ballot questions in the state, but we don't have referenda which the people can propose. It has to come from the legislature and be approved there. And actually, New York City is the same way. We don't have referenda that you could petition to get your idea on the ballot.
But if I was a city council person,
then you could put something forward in the city council.
Not gonna happen.
Yeah,
you never know. So the mayor wants the civic engagement thing. The city council sweeping reform in terms of what? What would they like to see?
No effing idea, because their commission has not been convened or even held hearings yet. It's only the end of August.
It's only in the August.
The mayor's commission has wrapped up. Its proposals are relatively modest.
Right.
With the exception, I suppose, of a massive beefing up of the public financing system. So matching funds would go from 6-to-1 to 8-to-1, and then the cap on matched donations would go from $175 to $250.
So who would that help?
Anybody who wants to run for office.
They're just getting more money.
They're just getting more money, and more of the money that they raise from people would be matched.
Got it.
So
it's giving away more city taxpayer dollars towards people who want to run for office.
Correct. Then there's an initiative to create an office of civic engagement, which operates under the mayor. Which personally, the way it's written, I think it's nonsense. It's literally just another patronage, another arm of patronage where the mayor can appoint people to do civic engagement, which is completely undefined in the initiative. And so...
Right. So it's like a way to do a favor to a friend.
And not only that...
come be our chair of civic engagement.
Yeah, even
Here's a nice office and a lovely paycheck that the people of the city are paying for.
Even if this mayor used it to improve civic engagement, which maybe he would because he's term limited out, I could easily see another mayor using that office to just promote the mayor's agenda. So, I'm not a huge...
Okay.
The way it was written up, I read it, it did not seem like it was
we could talk about this
very
forever.
well defined. But yeah, the city council, who knows, they want a wholesale revision, could be anything. They could be like, no more new buildings in New York if they wanted. That's like a thing you could put in the charter. Right. You could literally put that in the charter. No new buildings.
Wow.
I mean, it's unlikely that will get in there, but...
So it's kind of a little bit like a mini constitutional convention.
Yeah.
That's happening in 3 months.
Yeah.
by the time, and then at the end of this, one thing that surprised me about the Constitutional Convention, which didn't end up happening this year, is how little we heard about it.
Oh, right, that was your other question. How do we find out about
How
this?
do we find out about it? So this
Literally,
is something
we're
wholesale,
talking about it? I don't know.
Many changes could happen that would affect millions of people in New York City if we vote yes. But well, I wonder, will there be advertising campaigns? Will it be
This will
thing that
probably be
people
as
campaign?
advertised as any regular election, if that says anything to you.
Which is pathetic. I mean, hopefully this year, this blue wave is going to happen, and lots of people will come out and vote. Primaries are so important. Again, we mentioned Attorney General in New York, an important position right now because of all the stuff that's going on in Washington that potentially can also take place here. We want a really strong, wise, competent person in that office.
Yeah.
Vote. We meant to do this at every.
Yeah, we should always vote.
Vote. Look at our new set accessory with this lovely
Hattie the Hat
with this great vote button. So we're going to wrap this up for now, but we'll keep talking about it. This is fascinating. But again,
I suppose one thing I do want to add is when there is a ballot question, people almost always vote yes. And for example, the last time we had referenda or ballot initiatives, because they're not referenda, people can't propose them, they come to the legislature. The last time we had them for New York State, we wrote into our Constitution one of the worst redistricting laws in the country, at least in my opinion. So this is a result of people being told one thing and voting for it, when in fact the change was the opposite. So for example, that particular initiative was marketed as an independent redistricting amendment, but the Board of Elections made them remove that title because the actual content of the amendment was not independent redistricting, but people voted for it as such. And so what I just want to stress is it is important to pay attention to these things. That's why we're talking about it. The education aspect that the politicians will be putting out will probably be very
glossed over and maybe fancy type on a PowerPoint that doesn't make any sense.
So keeping apprised of these things is very important. So we'll continue to talk about this in the future, but I just want to say that this is some critical stuff.
Yeah, it's important. It's New York City. This is where we live. We want to make sure we know what we're talking about when we vote yes or no.
Especially when we change the system itself.
Yeah.
Not just change the politicians, but the very rules which govern our lives.
Well, on that serious note.
Laters.
See ya. Govern our lives.